Anything anybody says will be recorded, so keep that in mind. If you have anything you want to say or any questions, type it in Amphitheater Stage and I will see it. And yeah, that's okay. So, okay, wait, you said Craigbot is in? Yep, okay. So, all right, just a reminder for everybody, please keep your microphones muted during the class. That way there's not feedback and stuff. I will give people a chance to talk and ask questions at different points during the class and stuff. But for right now, please just stay muted. Okay, this class is on dreams. This is normal mundane dreams, not lucid dreaming, not visions or anything like that. This is just your everyday mundane, even though you might not remember it, we all have them. So the reason, well, and their interpretations. So that's what this is about. So the reason why we dream is it is basically your brain processing everything that you're going through. It's your emotions, what you went through the day, just all the baggage that you're carrying around, all of the happy stuff. It is your brain basically processing it. And the way that your subconscious works, it works in a lot of like symbolization and stuff, which is why dreams are really weird or abstract. And that's also why you will have reoccurring themes in your dreams or reoccurring dreams, is because if there is something going on in your life that is having a major impact on you, but you are not doing what you need to do, to change it or get it out of your life, you're going to keep dreaming about it. Or this can also happen with good things too. If there's something good that's constantly reoccurring, then, that'll be a thing. Or a lot of people will dream about school or work because since that's a constant thing in your life, it's going to constantly come up in your subconscious. So that's a thing. So the way that dream interpretation is easy, but it's also hard. A lot of people think that you can just take one part of the dream, look up its meaning, and then, oh, you got it. But it's not. Everything in your dream that you notice matters. If you notice a specific color, if you notice a specific texture, the lighting, it all matters. If, I'll use this as an example, there was somebody earlier in the dream discussion that said that in the dream, they knew they should have been looking one way, but in the dream, they actually looked another. That is significant. If you have certain emotions, if there's just something even if it makes no sense, if there's just something in the dream, it's going to make an impact. So what you have to do when you are interpreting your dreams is take all of these bits and pieces like a puzzle and put them together to see the whole picture. And once you get the whole picture, it can tell you what is going on in your life that you might be in denial about, or it'll tell you what you need to focus on more. Like, say that you've been really busy with work and you're neglecting your family. Your dreams can tell you, like, hey, you're working too much. You need to work, with your family more. Or at times, it can even tell you, like, steps that you might need to take to fix a situation. Like, you're being too stubborn in the situation and you need to calm down. So if you can actually interpret them correctly, you can use them a lot to help improve your life, yourself, help you go through emotions if there's something really negative in your life. It can help you come to terms with what's happening and move past it. So, to give you an example of how much the smallest of details can completely change the meaning of a dream, I'm going to have Shades read off a few things, and then I'll kind of piece them together. The reason I'm having Shades read them off is because I am blind and I don't want to fumble with trying to read stuff, so it'll just be easier for him to do it. So Shades, what is the definition of a book?
To see a book or indicate calm. You're moving towards your goals at a slow and steady pace. Books also symbolize knowledge.
Okay, so you think, okay, in your dream, you have a book. It's calm. It's moving towards a goal. That's a good thing. So, yay for books. But let's say that the book was purple. So what's the definition of purple?
Purple in dreams is indicative of devotion, of kindness, and is also the color of royalty, high rank, wealth.
Okay, you are cutting in and out just a little bit, Shades.
Again, purple is indicative of devotion, love, kindness, and compassion. The color of royalty, high rank, wealth, and dignity.
Okay. So let's say that wait, didn't it have something to do with like justice?
Injustice, yes. Well, it's kind of
implied, okay,
because of the whole high rank.
Okay. So, all right. And this is something that you will see in dreams too, is sometimes it'll give kind of a list of like the things it means, or it could be the dream means this, or alternatively, it could mean this. And for some reason, a lot of times the alternative meaning is very different than what the first meaning is. If you do this enough, you'll notice that there is kind of a pattern. One of them is usually if you're having a positive dream, that's more of what one is. But if you're having a negative dream or a nightmare, that's more of what the second one is. This isn't always, but this is something that happens a lot. So keep in mind the tone of the dream. So for purple, you have wealth, high rank, justice. So maybe there's something in your life that you are doing where it's like maybe in your job you're looking to move up, you're moving up a rank, your goal is to get a promotion or something. So you have the book, which is, you're moving towards your goal, and then you'll have purple, which means, okay, you're moving towards your goal with your job or, some kind of status. And so using that knowledge, when you look up the meanings of the other aspects of the dream, you'll at least have an idea of which aspect of your life the book is about and that section of the dream is about. But let's say that the book was green instead of purple. So Shades, the definition for green, please.
So Green signifies positive change, growth, fertility, vitality, serenity, and healing.
Okay. Okay. So with a lot of the stuff with green, so you have the healing, the vitality, maybe you are doing something that is something health related, like maybe you're working out, maybe you're, trying to get healthier. So you have a goal of, I'm going to start eating better and that sort of thing. So just the color, of the book has changed just an aspect of, what it's going to mean. And, again, depending on what the rest of the things are, it can, have an effect. The next one is going to show you, which this is going to be the final, add-on for this, is going to show you exactly how important details are. Let's say that the book is torn. Shades, what does torn mean?
So, you see a tear or a rip, drain indicates dissatisfaction, direction that the situation is going.
Okay, so yeah, just adding the torn, you have the dissatisfaction, you're not happy with it. And so now you have a book, which is a good thing, it's moving towards your goal, and then just that one tear. And it's like, okay, you're not happy with it. There's something wrong with it. There's something you need to fix. And so now what your dream's telling you just suddenly went from you're on the right path to there's something wrong. There's something that needs to be fixed. There's something that needs to be changed. There's something that needs to be different. So you really have to pay attention to the smallest of things. The lighting of, like, if you're in a room and it's light in the room compared to dark in the room, that has a very drastic change. If you're in water or you see water, if the water is clear compared to if the water is full of branches and twigs and leaves, or if the water is murky, those three different types of waters are completely different meanings. So if you are going to get into dream interpretation, it will be very time consuming. And you need to also look up the entire dream, because the dream could have multiple things in it. Like even just a short dream, where you could just write a paragraph about what it is. There could be 3 or 4 different aspects of your life that it's going to tell you about. Or you could have a very long dream that all points towards the same thing, which in that case, your dream's trying to tell you something. Listen. If you see something like reoccurring constantly, you really, like, if there's a fox that keeps showing up in your dream, you really might want to look up foxes and, look up the stuff surrounding the foxes. So, yeah, does anybody have any questions so far about anything I've said? Okay, I will take that as a no. So there's a little trick that I kind of picked up that's going to be kind of a little bonus on for this. If you get a book or you find a website that gives you the meanings of dreams, which I should also mention, they're not all the same. Find the one that fits you. Like, example, there's a website that I use, dreammoods.com. There's a book that my aunt uses. They can be very different. Like, if I've tried using her book, It does not work for me. She's tried using my website. It does not work for her. However, I can, like, I'll use my website and interpret, like, her dreams for her, and it works great. And there's been times when I've had her interpret my dreams for me, and she uses her book, and it works great. So it's not that, one of them was wrong or, one of them was right. You just have to find, which one goes with the way that you think and your thought processes and stuff. And once you find, like, it'll work for everybody. It's just, you got to find, it's like just other stuff. Like, you got to just find the one that works for you. But once you find the one that works for you, you you can actually do back of the eyelid scrying, and you can use the dream meanings to do this. I've tried this out several times before, and it's worked. So the way that you do back of the eyelid scrying is you close your eyes and you focus on a question or a thought or a situation. And most people will see colors. They'll see outlines, they'll see shapes. And if you meditate on something or focus on something, you should have, pictures, visions. For me, it's like chalk outlines. And they move and different things. And so, example, if you are, you have your eyes closed, you're focusing on a question, and you see a butterfly, you will look up a butterfly and get the meaning, and you have your answer. So that is how you can actually use dream interpretation for scrying. Okay, to answer Patrick's question, I haven't figured this out yet. I know several people who they have dreams where the dream constantly ends with them dying. There's this kind of like rumor thing that goes around where if you die in your dream, you will die outside of your dream. I know lots of people who've died in their dreams. I've had people try to kill me in so many different ways in my dreams. I've been shot, stabbed, beheaded, thrown off of stuff, fell from a cliff, actually hit the ground. I've had so much stuff happen in my dreams. Actually, my earliest dream I ever remember having, I was 4 or 5, and I dreamed I tripped and fell and decapitated myself on a shovel. So, but for something like that, depending on, so you would look up death, and then you would look up how you died, and again, look up all the methods. So like if you died on a roller coaster, you would look up like death, roller coaster, if there was any colors, if like the location, like was the roller coaster in a theme park, you'd look up theme park. If it was in a forest, you look up the forest. If it was in the city, you'd look up city. Just everything that you have. You would look up sky. Was it daytime? Was it nighttime? Was it, a blue sky? Like, what did you notice? Was there clouds in the sky? It's all of that. Was it quiet? Was it noisy? Just all of that. And that should give you an idea of what thing keeps reoccurring in your life that you keep processing that you're not changing. For people too, sometimes you'll have people who, if you actually recognize the person, in your dream, like it's not just somebody that you recognize in your dream, but like it's your sister or your best friend or something, that will have meaning, a different meaning compared to if it's somebody who's just in your dream. Like if you have a sister in your dream, but you don't actually have a sister outside of your dream, that makes a difference too. And a lot of the stuff, if you pay really close attention to your dreams, keep a dream journal and what's going on with your life at the time, you'll start to notice different patterns and the different meanings for different things like that. If there is something that keeps, like if it always starts the same way or always ends the same way, or there's something, then you really do need to look up that, because there's something that your dream is screaming at you. And a lot of times something you'll notice is there'll be times where you'll start looking up the meanings, and there'll just be a keyword that keeps coming up, keeps coming up, keeps coming up. And you'll find out that your dream has been screaming something at you and desperately trying to tell you something, but you weren't getting the message. And a lot of times if somebody has a reoccurring dream and I look it up, it is just the same thing over and over and over again. And I'll tell them, it's like, yeah, so your dream's telling you this. And they're just like, oh yeah, I really probably should work on that. And it's like, yeah, probably just a little bit. Also, if things are keep it's well with okay, so I really don't know that much about lucid dreaming. I've kind of done it, but I know too many people who've gotten into lucid dreaming and it went horribly wrong. So I didn't really, it's not something I really try to do too much. My issue with dream interpretation when it comes to lucid dreaming is you have control of the dream. So it's really hard because, with the dreams, with the dream interpretation, it's your subconscious. But, with lucid dreaming, it's not your subconscious, it's partly your consciousness. So I would test it. I could give you my opinion, but it would just, it'd be an educated opinion. I would say get 2 dream journals, one for when you're not lucid dreaming, one for when you are dreaming, and look for patterns yourself and see what you can come up with. Okay. Does anybody else have any more questions? And if anybody wants to unmute and ask me a question right now or something, you can, because I think I've kind of covered everything that I actually want to say, but I do kind of have a thing too. If anybody wants to look up like a part of a dream that they've had before and kind of want to see if I can help, like if they have any questions while they're looking it up, I will type out the website I use, and you can give it a shot. I will say, if you use this website, when you use the search, only type in a single word. If you type in 2 words, it won't really bring anything up with the search, but it will bring up a lot of words. So like, example, when I was having Shades bring up the pages for what I was going to have him read off the interpretations for, and he typed in green, bell peppers came up first, and then he had to scroll down to get to green. So just keep that in mind. Try to use the more specific word for whatever. So it's like, I cannot think of like a 2-word word right now. But yeah, that can make it kind of more time consuming, but it's still thing. Or like if you're gonna like type in bell pepper, you'd want to type in pepper and then look for bell pepper. Is the cat okay?
Yep.
Okay. Let's see. Alchemy, you want, if you look in the library, there is over 50 books on alchemy. And some websites. So that's some resources. So yeah, anybody have anything to say or questions or anything?
Chet's said like books or websites.
You mean for alchemy? Or for go to the go to the library map or scroll down the server a little bit. There's a category called Alchemy Library. There's over 50 books in there, and there's a few alchemy websites in there. You're welcome. Okay, I see sorcerer typing.
Old sorcerer said serpents have featured a lot in my dreams. These days I get dreams where snakes come out of my back, usually 6, 3 from each side. Usually very positive.
I know a lot of people at first thought might think that snakes are a bad thing, but there's a lot of cultures and stuff where snakes are a good thing. So I would okay, for something like that, you would look up a serpent, especially if you know what type it is. So like if it was a cobra, you'd want to look up cobra. Also for something like that too, I usually look up cobra and snake just to see if like they both have something to say. You would look up the number 3 and okay, so you'd look up the number 6 because there's 6 snakes, but you would also want to look up the number 3 and the direction and left for the direction left side of your back, and combine the 2 of those together to find its meaning, and then 3 and the right side to combine the meaning for them too. You would also want to look up back itself, and so you would want to combine the meanings of back, like snake 3 and left, and back snake 3 and right, and kind of see what that all gets you. And then the number 6 too. Yeah, like especially with stuff like that, it becomes this really weird spider web, and it sounds like it can be at times it can be difficult to figure out how to piece them together. But the more you do it, the more patterns that you find, and then the quicker it becomes the next time you do it. Oh, something else that's like really fun to do is if there's somebody who has a dream in a TV show or a movie or a book, actually interpret that dream. It's really funny because it's, yeah, people don't really look up dream meanings when they come up with dreams for fiction stuff. And there was one time I was watching a documentary on like what causes you to dream, and they had people talking about their dreams. And there was one guy who had like this really simple dream, so I looked it up. And basically it said that life in the bedroom had come to a halt and he wasn't being satisfied. And I realized I really didn't need to know that about that guy, and no wonder he sounded sad during the documentary. So be careful when interpreting other people's dreams. You might learn things about them you really didn't want to know. And to give you an idea, that particular dream involved a toad or a frog, I don't remember now, sitting on a table saying hamburger repeatedly. Seemed innocent enough. Oh. If things are murky or dirty or torn, it's going to be negative. So like if you go into like a kitchen and the kitchen's dirty, it's basically whatever the kitchen means is flipped. You're not getting whatever that is, or it's worse than what it is. Let's see. There's some other stuff, but I don't remember what it is. It's weird random stuff, but for the most part it's that sort of stuff. Like if it's a river and there's a bunch of like twigs and trees and stuff, then that's going to be a bad sign usually. If something's rotting or yeah, or yeah, that's really all I can think of off the top of my head. Oh, also another warning, there was one time there was somebody, they were like, hey, I hear you do dream interpretations. I was just like, yeah. And it's somebody I'd known for a while. And I just, hey, so I had this dream. It's really weird. Tell me, was it me? And I looked up the dream and I was just like, oh, it's about your crush on this person. And they freaked out because they had never told anybody that they had a crush on that person. And they're just like, how'd you know that? I'm just like, well, your dream told me, like, given the information that your dream told me, it's kind of obvious who the crush is on. And because, we had the same circle of friends. So given the information, it was really easy to figure out. And that really freaked them out. And it actually like damaged our friendship a little bit because, that they kind of felt like it was an invasion of privacy and stuff. And even though they're the one that told me to interpret their dream for them. But yeah, they're just like, yeah, I'm never having you interpret my dreams again. So, I'm not saying that that's going to happen with everybody, but if you do start doing dream interpretation for other people, be careful because dreams can be very revealing. Okay, I see bug typing. Also, if you ask me a question and I miss it, go ahead and retype it, but make it shorter. I am using text-to-speech to know what everybody's saying, and sometimes it doesn't pick up on everything.
And it makes them uncomfortable. Bug said it, sorry.
No worries. You're good, Bug. But I noticed that Sorcerer typed a lot and stuff like that. But yeah, so if I miss something, I apologize. Just shorten it and retype whatever it is I missed.
The old sorcerer servers.
Yeah, I'm gonna make all of you work extra. Ha ha ha. Okay, is there anything else from anybody? Again, if you want to, you can unmute and say something if you want. Or type, whichever. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and take that as that's it. Cricket, you want to
Sorry.
get? Oh, yep. Was there something?
Oh yeah, I just wanted to ask something. Have you ever found that the way someone writes a dream one or tells you a dream, like their way of talking? I know it's way of talking, but the way something is worded in writing can kind of give away what the dream is trying to tell you. It's like just not even the content, just the wording or the way.
Sometimes, okay, so I'll have people where it's like, okay, what's your dream about? And they'll be like, it was about a dog. And it's like, okay, well, tell me about the dog. Oh, it was brown. Was it a solid brown, light brown? Like, basically, getting any kind of information from them is like pulling teeth. And it's like they want a dream interpretation, but they don't want to talk about the dream, even if there's like nothing major. Like if there's something, kind of crazy that happens in the dream, they might not want to talk about it, but it's like the simplest things and they just won't want to. I've noticed a lot of times if it's not just the person is just kind of being an asshole, it's usually a sign that it's something they don't want to cope with. The word denial will usually show up in the meanings, or it's a situation that is hitting them very hard emotionally. And so even though their consciousness doesn't necessarily know what the meaning of the dream is, their subconscious does. And so they're kind of being resistant to giving the information. A lot of the way a person will word their dreams, well, I've noticed actually tells more about their personality rather than the dream itself. Some people will take a dream and try to make it sound like it's this mysterious, awe-inspiring, like this whole other world. It's, almost like this whole experience, adventure, and it's just like, dude, it's just a dream. Chill the frick out. And it's a lot of people who are kind of like, which I get this a lot with occult people. It's usually the people who try to make themselves out to be, smarter and mysterious and stuff. So it's just kind of this like huge facade, which actually I'll admit I kind of get some sick pleasure from that, because I can usually tell them a bunch of shit where they're just like, oh wow, you figured that out? I'm just like, yeah. And so it kind of like throws them off balance, and it's kind of funny watching them stumble around a little bit. Or there's people where, it's like, okay, tell me about their dream, and they'll give like every single detail. Like they go, like first shot, they go extremely detailed. And those are usually people who are, more open in their life, where, they ramble a lot, they talk a lot. People like me, basically. So that's that's kind of more of what I've gotten off of that. There was one guy who kept wanting me to interpret his sex dreams for him. And then later on, I found out that he had a crush on me. So, and it was actually more than a crush, but yeah. Yeah, it's more telling about the person than the dreams themselves. Oh, and so if anybody's wondering, I've been doing dream interpretation since I was 16. I am now 33. I've had a lot of experiences. I've noticed a lot of stuff. This is kind of my thing. Oh, also something else I've noticed, there are some people who don't want to believe that dreams have any kind of meanings at all whatsoever. And they'll leave stuff out of the dream, like very important stuff. And like, so it's like they'll tell you stuff and they'll like tell you the details and stuff like that. And you'll spend all the time and you'll like look up the dream and they'll just be like, oh, haha, that's wrong. But oh, by the way, I totally left this part out. And it's just like, well, of course that's going to change the whole meaning. And they'll just kind of, it doesn't seem like they do it on purpose, but they kind of toy with you a lot. So I've gotten to the point now where if somebody like flat out does not believe that dreams have meaning, I don't bother interpreting their dreams for them. Like, it's kind of fun to show people that it actually does, but there's just too many times that they're just kind of jerks about it. So depending on the person, but usually it's just kind of a, no, I'm not going to waste my time with you. But anybody who knows me knows that I'm also very quick to move on past people who I feel are wasting my time. So any other questions or statements or anything?
Patrick Mann said, "Oh, how much do you cost for dream interpretation?"
I don't charge. I don't do it often. It is really time consuming, and especially since I'm blind, so there's, I can't just look it up and read it. Like I have to run it through my voice programs and stuff like that, which constantly having to go back and forth and stuff, what might take somebody 10 minutes to interpret might take me an hour to interpret. And a lot of times, like with people, it's, I don't know, like, I prefer to know somebody and know that they're serious, and I know that they're not just going to be wasting my time if I'm going to actually put the effort in. Yeah. There's a lot of people who do dream interpretation. Don't go to anybody who charges. It's like tarot readings, especially like around Discord and stuff. If somebody's going to do just like a basic, 3-card pull and they want to charge you for it, no, screw it. There's enough people who won't. I will say that, like, if somebody's going to go like all out doing it, like an entire thing, pull multiple cards, like they're actually putting time and effort into it, by all means, they have the right. But dream interpretation is just like your normal, like, I'm going to do a card, like a single card pull and charge $20. Unless, it's somebody who's a professional and, it's going to be a really long dream and it's going to take a huge chunk of time and effort. You really shouldn't go to anybody who's charging for that. Oh my gosh, it's Heathen. Hi, Heathen. you missed that heathen would like wrapping things up. Burn the heathen. But is there any other questions or anything? Actually, Cricket, go ahead and kick the bot. That way, if there's anybody who's shy because they don't want to